Hello. Well, what did I say? It's a distraction, isn't it? 3 or 4 days before the Tommy Robinson spectacular, in which he exposes the propaganda pumped out by the BBC, and during the final ongoing discussions about our exit from the European Union, and suddenly all anyone can talk about, including the BBC, who's fallen on this story like a starving man on a biscuit full of worms. All anyone can talk about is this one female psychopath in a refugee camp in Syria. Don't you think it's a little strange? Because there are hundreds of such people, some of whom are already in this country, and we read inflammatory marks that this woman's made, which anyone with any sense at all would know are likely to push our buttons. Here, what does she say? She's upset and frustrated by the revocation of her British citizenship. And of course, the first thing we're all going to think is, what does she mean? She's upset. What about all those girls kidnapped and sold into sex slavery? They might have been just a teensy-weensy bit upset about being raped and beaten and then shot. And what else? She's frustrated because she can't get what she wants, which is back with her parents in London. And we think, how many people in towns overrun by that plague of rats got frustrated when they were deprived of what they wanted, principally their lives, by the organisation she supported and in which she had such a good time and had the opportunity to meet the fine man she married. We all know that, and we're all going to think that. And meanwhile, while we're thinking that, we're not thinking, why are we discussing this woman in the first place? Now, hang on a minute. This is water, honestly. People keep asking if it's gin and tonic. No, it isn't. But when I get really angry, and I'm talking like this, I get thirsty too. Anyway, look, I've already said this. The law is the law. If we have a bad law, the sort of law that gives her the right to come back, we can't just ignore it. We really can't. Because it's the structure of the law and our continual discussion of it and our changing of it and tweaking of it to match changing circumstances that makes us the stable society we happen to be living in right now. If you vote for the sort of politicians who make bad laws, then it's your duty not to start screaming and shouting, but to vote for better politicians next time. A lot of you guys out there voted Labour last time, didn't you? You shouldn't have, should you? Haven't you learnt from the way Tony Blair ran his government? He was the one responsible for castrating the Treason Act, which made it next to impossible to punish people like Begum adequately when they were caught. He was the one who passed the Racial and Religious Hatred Act, which has been responsible for shutting our mouths ever since. And as for the people who voted Conservative, well, not enough of you voted UKIP. That's all I can say. So the grand distraction is to strip Begum of her citizenship, which is like those instructions you used to get on fireworks, you may remember. Light the blue touch paper and retire. Sajid Javid lit the touch paper, and now all he has to do is stand back and wait for the legal repercussions. That's going to fill acres of newsprint and hours of TV time. And people are just going to be shouting down the phones at the talk show hosts all over this one idiot fundamentalist who throws her veil back over her head when the TV cameras are there so we can see her face and so get the impression that she may be human. But then when she goes out to live her life in the refugee camp, she puts it back down. Now, that's something I don't understand. What sort of rationale is that? Either she doesn't want the world to see her face, or she does. Surely exposing yourself on television is worse than exposing yourself while surrounded by a few acquaintances. I'm getting sidetracked now. Look, Javid says he can take away her citizenship because she's eligible for Bangladeshi citizenship through her parents. And what a surprise! The Bangladeshis don't want her. And a whole load of lawyers in this country start agreeing with them. And there's going to be a battle royal. And meanwhile, that's all we'll be talking about. Although it is rather amusing imagining the frantic phone calls between the various offices of the British Civil Service and the Bangladeshi Civil Service, all trying to get their nationality rules in place before the hot potato lands permanently in their burning hands. Look, while we're discussing all of this, is she a citizen? Isn't she a citizen? We're not discussing what Tommy Robinson is going to be talking about in Manchester on Saturday night on the 23rd of February, if you're seeing this before that date. And what he's going to be talking about is the propaganda being pumped out by, well, actually, in this case, the BBC, but we all know it applies to the others as well, don't we? The propaganda that we're seeing in this very example with Shamima Begum. That's what we should be really discussing, or the fact that we should be out of the European Union, not that thing being out of the refugee camp in Syria. We can discuss that afterwards. But no, it's not in the government's interests that we talk about anything else. So that woman is the focus of our attention. The one we see on all the news clips, the interviews, again and again. How I loathe seeing that ugly face cropping up on my screen time after time. And by the way, it's not ugly because the features are misaligned. It's ugly because it's the face of death. Oh, and by the way, there's another distraction going on. I've noticed dozens of comments under my videos about Jews being behind all of this. I haven't deleted any of them, but really, wake up, folks. For Christ's sake. Christ's sake, that's not very kosher, is it? For Christ's sake, Jews don't have anything to do with this. That's another distraction technique. Stop distracting yourselves. Stop distracting other people. That Begum thing, she's not a drop in the bucket. She's a drop in the ocean. She's one of hundreds, and most of those hundreds are already here. The ones who sneaked in, the ones who were let in, and the ones who never left. Anjem Chowdhury, for instance. He's a lot more poisonous than her, and we're concentrating on this idiot girl, and she really is abysmally stupid. Whatever. Don't get exercised about this woman. Let the law be the law, and let's concentrate on changing the laws that do damage us. The treason laws, the laws that stop us criticising ideologies, laws in the same area as the Racial and Religious Hatred Act that can be applied in almost any case that the police choose to use them, from outright calls to murder, to walking your dog in the wrong place, or talking about dogs, teaching a pug to make a Hitler salute. Let's concentrate our minds on that. Okay, that's it.